Problem 2. The coordinates of the endpoints of a diameter of a circle. Alright, so I've got a circle, okay, and they're telling me I have a diameter. So my circle is going to have a center, I'll call it O, and then my diameter. It's got to go through the center. And they're saying it goes from A to B. And A is 10, 2, and B is minus 4, 6. They want to know what is the equation of that circle with the given diameter. Well, in order to write the equation of a circle, I know I'm going to need a center, and I also know I'm going to need to know the length of the radius. Those are the two pieces of information I need to know. Well, I know the center of my circle is in the middle of my diameter, okay? If this is a diameter, okay, then the midpoint would be my center. So I'm doing a midpoint calculation. Alright, midpoint is the average of my x's. So the average of my x's of the endpoint. So one of my x terms on the endpoint is 10. The other one's negative 4. So I sum them and divide by 2 because I want the average. The other endpoint is 2. I'm sorry, the y terms on the endpoint are 2 and 6. So I'll sum them and divide by 2. It turns out my midpoint, 10 minus 4, that's 6, and then it's over 2, and that's 8 over 2. Turns out my midpoint is 3, 4, right? 6 over 2 is 3, 8 over 2 is 4. So my center is 3, 4. Now, if I write out the equation of a circle, we know it's x minus h quantity squared plus y minus k quantity squared. That all equals my radius squared. So h and k represent the center in this equation. X and y represent all the points on my circle. And since there's an infinite amount of points, when we write out the equation, we leave them as variables. But realize that any point that I know on my circle, I can use that in the equation for x and y's. So I have 2 points I know, A and B. Those are points on my circle. So this is an x and a y. So it seems like I have an h and a k value and an x and a y value. I can substitute them into my equation. So for x, it's 10 minus, and then my h is that 3. We're squaring it. My y would be that 2. And I'm going to subtract my k, my 4, and squaring it. If I complete that math, that will tell me my radius squared, which is what I'm looking for. So doing the math, let's simplify. 10 minus 3 is 7, and 2 minus 4 is negative 2. That all equals my radius squared. Well, 7 squared is 49, negative 2 squared is 4. That still equals my radius squared. Well, that will be 53. 53 is my radius squared. If I wanted to write out my radius, it's the square root of this, right? Cancel out the square by square rooting. Whatever I do to one side, I do to the other. My radius is 53. But do realize they want the equation, all right? So in the equation, it's radius squared. It would be it would be this number. This is the number that's going in there because that's my radius squared. So writing out the equation, it is x minus my h, 3, squared, plus y minus my k squared, and that all equals my radius squared, which was 53. That is the equation of a circle whose diameter are these endpoints.